Everyone has a story. Stories have power. They help us understand. Jessop's Journal is a collection of powerful, positive, and inspirational stories. It's time for Jessop's Journal.
Hi, I'm Doug Jessop. Welcome to this episode of Jessop's Journal, where we share powerful, positive, and inspirational stories. So gather around the campfire, let's have some fun. First up is a gentleman that has a powerful story of following a dream. He also has a powerful voice, and so, yeah, his band, okay, dad joke alert, Cinders, is going to be our musical guest.
Just like the afternoon, but I understand. It comes with the same time. Grown now, but I'm still lost on how to deconstruct this box you built around me.
Raymond Crane has a positive love of the Western lifestyle. He's also a gentleman that is keeping the handcrafted art of hat making alive.
My first hat that I ever did, only took me about a half an hour to design. I mean, it's really fast. I was like, oh yeah, that sounds great. This one took me 2.5 months to design.
Really?
And I'd sit back and look at it and say, what is it that I want for me?
Everyone has a story. Stories have power. Objects can have inspirational stories. Objects with stories are treasures remembered.
That was my first hat. It's a little worn right now. I mean, as far as the band's all ripped off and it doesn't keep its shape.
But first, the front man for the band Cinders, Mr. Montana Smith. Hi, I'm Doug Jessop. Welcome to this episode of Jessop's Journal, taped right here at the Metro Music Hall. With me today is Montana Smith.
How's it going?
Excellent. The name Montana. Were you born, conceived, lived? What was the Montana connection?
Well, my dad was raised up in Montana, and I kind of avoided my entire life asking the question of if I was conceived or not until very recently, and I was.
Now, are your parents still alive?
My dad passed away when I was younger, but my mom is, yeah.
Oh, really? Wow. So, how old were you when your dad passed?
9 years old.
Whoa. Sorry to hear about that, but
right.
I guess the question I have is, as a musical artist, number one, I love your music, but I also noticed that you do something different. You write your own music.
Yeah, all three of us.
I got to think that losing a parent at a young age has got to have some kind of impact on your music.
It does, and I've written a couple songs about that, but I think it's more so for myself, where I've kept that. Hasn't quite made the recording full band scale type stuff like our other songs do.
Okay.
But maybe one day it'll come out.
Yeah. So what kind of music genre do you put yourself into?
Alternative, to call it easy, but people joke around about mom-approved rock.
Okay.
We just play fun stuff that we like to be up on stage playing with people. So it's just it's whatever the song we're currently writing is.
I like that answer. Well, I got to tell you, and my kids give me a hard time because I'm an older guy, yet my go-to radio station is X96. So X96 guys, you need to be playing Cinders music. Just saying, okay, just saying. So when did you start getting into music?
My family's always been musical, but I personally started getting into it to the point where I actually enjoyed it rather than you have to play piano,
Yeah.
Probably when I was about 12, 13 or so.
Okay.
I saw my brother performing at his wedding, just a simple acoustic song for his wife. And the idea of performing in front of people, playing guitar, kind of struck a chord with me, so I started learning at that point.
It didn't scare the crap out of you. You actually said, yeah, I want to do this?
Oh, I was jealous. I was looking at him, I was like, I want to be right there.
Okay, so was guitar the first musical instrument you learned, or?
Well, other than piano, I did, basic first year type stuff on piano, but guitar is the first real instrument that I really got into.
Do you remember the first song that you wrote?
You're gonna make me talk about it, aren't you?
Oh yeah, you got it, man.
It was a really bad song that I actually recorded with my uncle, and it was about a girl, of course, right? And I made this really, at the time I thought it was profound, analogy about how I can't stop falling for this girl because she's like a slide. You know, you can't stop falling. That's about the extent of it.
Okay, and what was the name of this
Can't
song?
Stop Falling for You.
Well, no, okay, I love the title, you know,
I
that's
think I was
pretty
about
good.
14, so
Oh, wow. So
that
what-
one's never coming out of
No,
the
oh, come on.
block box.
You think we can maybe pay off your uncle? Yeah, I just said. Your publicist sent me this video, okay, and I don't even think that it's come out. I'm going, okay, now this is kind of cool. And it's a stop motion video and everything. So what was that song called, or is that song called?
Growing Up.
Growing Up.
Yeah.
Something that I'm not sure most of us want to do, but apparently you sometimes, you kind of have to.
When you're a kid, you want to.
Yeah, and then when you're older, you go,
Yeah.
because I've told my kids, you know, that I am mentally 38 years old.
Yeah.
And apparently my
You're not 38?
No, I think so. But I've told my oldest son, who is now 38, that he's apparently my age.
Nice.
So, it's like, so how did that song come to be?
The three of us are in a job / career where we are excited about the fact that we don't have to grow up, right?
Okay.
We spend nights sleeping on hotel floors, traveling in a van, sleeping in the floor of the van, lots of floors. But then we get to different cities and get to play fun shows, hang out with people. You know, it's not your typical sit at a desk type of a job. So we love it. We wanted to write a song about the struggles of being forced to grow up when you don't want to.
That's pretty profound. Now, tell me a little bit more about the other guys in your band.
Yeah, so there's three of us. Drummer is Brad, and the bassist is Adrian, and they both do way more than just that. They both help write with lyrics. Adrian always comes in, hey, I've got a new chord progression idea, and a month later we have an entire song based off of it. I love the setup that we have right now. The writing flows really well with us.
How did you come up with the name Cinders?
I wish I had a cooler story for you.
Okay.
We actually used to make up stories every once in a while, but then people would be confused, and so it was a song back in high school I was a part of, and it was a cool name, horrible song, and so we thought it would work well as a band name.
Were you older than 14, and was it about that same girl?
No, definitely not that same.
Okay, just saying. And I like the play that you guys have off each other. I can tell that, you know, because I've seen other bands, and you know, a lot of the time, you know, you just kind of bring different people in, but to me, the chemistry has got to really work.
Oh yeah.
Especially if you guys are in vans and on floors and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I ask this of every single musician, and I know the answer is already, it depends,
Yeah.
okay? But with, for example, you know, this song, you know, that has this new music video, did the music or the lyrics come first?
Music came first on that one.
Really?
It was typically it's very back and forth. Music came first. Came up with that first melody, the bought up part, and lyrics came after, and then music came after that. Then you know, it kind of stacks on top of each other until the song's done.
So Montana,
Yeah.
there is this cool little opening riff with the little lyrics at the start of that song. So let's hear it.
You said that it was stuck in your head after that. So.
That is true. You know, so it's like, yeah.
It's the ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba. That part?
Yeah. What does it mean to you to hear the audience singing your lyrics back to you?
Oh, it's incredible. We've sometimes played shows where we release a song before we've had a chance to even play it.
Oh, yeah?
And then we go out there and people are already singing it, and it's honestly the greatest feeling ever.
Somehow you got hooked up with this guy that was on How I Met Your Mother, and he's directing it. It's like, holy crap.
Yeah, that's awesome.
How did that happen?
He actually tweeted about us like 5 years ago
Yeah?
when we were very first releasing stuff. And he tweets "Song of the Day, Cinders," you know, and we were all just freaking out over just a simple little tweet that just seemed generic, you know. Our manager, when we were trying to come up with some music video stuff, he reached out as kind of just like a, why not? Might as well. And he reached back. He's like, yeah, let's do it. It's as
serious?
simple as that. There was no like you know, talk to this person to talk to this person. It wasn't. It was literally just, hey, do you want to do this? Yeah.
So what's that song called?
That one's Afternoon.
Okay, tell me what afternoon means, and don't say between 1 and 4 in the afternoon. Okay?
Yeah, you made that joke.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Okay, you know.
The lyrics on the chorus are just like the afternoon. I'm brighter now, but I understand the gloom that comes with the setting sun. Sounds very moody when you say it out loud, but when you sing it, it sounds better.
Yeah, well.
No, but it's very much about feeling stuck in a situation that can also bring you happiness, and understanding that finding positive out of those times is still important.
Yeah.
So that you don't, you know, sometimes you aren't in the moment enough during a time in your life, and you regret not being there as much as you could have.
Was it a group effort, or what? How did that one come together?
I mean, it's definitely a group effort on the lyrics. There was a lot of back and forth on that type of stuff.
Okay.
What I love about writing is that it can impact you at different times. Even songs that I wrote like 5 years ago impact me more now than when I was writing them.
You're a pretty young guy, and you have some pretty deep lyrics. And so I love...
It helps that all three of us kind of add to it.
And now, I got to think you've got this vision, okay, of saying, you know, it'd be really cool if we went to this particular dream destination, okay? Yeah. If you could perform anywhere in the world, what would be the pinnacle for Montana Smith?
If you asked me a couple years ago, it would have been like another country or continent like Europe. But it was really fun last year. We played in England. That was a ton of fun. But now, as far as just venues, I mean, I've always loved Red Rocks.
Oh, yeah.
My wife and I went there about a year or two ago, and it's a lot bigger when you're there.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool, the massive face of the Red Rock on the side. So either that or Madison Square Garden, just because, you know.
Yeah, because
you can't top
it's
that.
Madison Square Garden. Yeah, exactly. Wow.
So,
well, you know, let's put it this way, okay? I want you to promise me that when you make it to Madison Square Garden,
we'll remember Doug.
You remember Doug, and you save me some tickets.
Okay, we'll do.
Okay, and Fred too, our photographer.
Perfect.
Just
we'll do.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Montana Smith, how do you want to leave your mark?
I think the biggest thing that we, as a group, enjoy most is bringing people together. Whether it's together in the fact that they don't feel as alone as they used to, or literally like at a show, you know, bringing people together. One of my favorite things is seeing fans interact with each other. You know, like a fan from Seattle is tweeting at a fan from New York, and they're going back and forth, and I love seeing that because that wouldn't exist without us, and the opportunity to have that is pretty cool.
One of my favorite inspirational quotes is from Audrey Hepburn. She said, "To plant a garden is to believe in tomorrow." Everyone has a story. Sometimes those stories are told through music. Cinders, they're a band that's hot. It's time for Jessop's Jukebox. Cinders is rocking it in the music video world. Their next music video is being directed by a guy named Josh that you may have seen on How I Met Your Mother. Wow. Now, the reality is, this one's about relationships, and they sometimes come to an end between this time of 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. called afternoon.
How long have you been holding your breath? Your face is turning blue again. Was something I said? You shattered me, but that's okay. There were pieces of me I hoped would fall away. There's an anchor between the carpet and couch. It's pulling me down. I've lost this fight again, just like the afternoon. understand the glow that comes with the setting sun. Just like the afternoon, bright and new, but I understand the glow that comes with the setting sun. How long have you been holding your breath? Your face is turning blue again. Was it something I said? Shattered me, but that's okay. There were pieces of me I hoped would fall away. Just like the afternoon, I'm brighter now, but I understand the glow. Just like the afternoon, brighter now, but I understand the
Daniel Boone was a man. He was a big man. He was also 8 generations back my uncle. Go figure. So that's why this hat is called the Boone. There's something special about passing on traditions. Raymond Crane's grandfather gave him a hat. Well, now Raymond is handcrafting hats all around the world, and full disclosure, he's my hat maker.
So how in the world did you become a hatter?
Oh, that's kind of interesting but long story.
Okay, well let's try to abbreviate it a little bit.
Yeah. So my what's interesting is that my grandma, who she's an artist, and she would draw. She was in music as well, and so was my mother, and so they, that was just something that was just given to me as well. I just loved art. I loved drawing. I draw horses and things like that when I was younger. I actually, when I was, about 14, I actually went into a part of the Boy Scouts, which was, we would learn about the Native American culture, and so I made actually a couple of these things right here,
wow, cool.
like a Native American shield and some beadwork, and I'd actually dance in powwows, and so I always kind of had that love for the art, even though I went to school in business, and a lot of people think, oh, you're in business, why didn't you go into art? Well, that was another strength of mine coming from another part of my family, but now I get to mesh those two together, and so I love being a hatter and also the businessman part of it.
Who believed in you before you believed in you?
My dad, he would also, teach me when I was younger to work hard. When I was about 12, he started, taking a side job to provide for us and all of us kids, and so he was roofing houses and just the neighborhood houses and everything. And then he actually started bringing me along, and I would throw shingles to him, and then eventually I would nail the shingles or cut the shingles. And why would you put a 12-year-old kid up on a 15-foot tall roof? But
we won't tell OSHA.
But looking back on that, I really appreciated it. I mean, it was a lot of hard work. He taught me to push through the hard times when actually, like, you're tired, you're sweating, it's hot, or it's cold, but you push through it, get the job done that you need to get done, and so I really appreciated that from him. Another huge person as far as who believed in me would be my grandmother on my father's side as well. And she was a tough cookie.
What was her name?
Her name was Birdie Palmer, and the last name Crane for her when she got married with my grandpa. But she was a softball player.
Really?
Yeah. And then my grandpa loved her, and they fell in love and got married. But being a softball player, she was kind of a rough and tough gal. And I mean, you know, she'd milk cows and take care of the animals, but take care of like her 9 kids as well. And so, I mean, for me, what was really neat is that whenever I'd come in and see her, she's like, "Oh, Raymond," and she'd come over and grab me and give a big hug to me, or most commonly, she'd come punch me in the shoulder.
Wow, punch from grandma.
Yeah, and you know, this wasn't just like any punch. I mean, she would really hammer me, and and you know, knock me back, and she'd, "Oh, I love you," and she would just grab me even harder. So she believed in me. You know, even when I made all those dumb mistakes, or would go ride the calves in the corral when I wasn't supposed to with all my cousins. You know, I'm sure she knew all that.
Oh yeah, grandmas know, right?
Yeah, but yeah, she'd probably be my number one person, I'd say.
You know, we all have things that kind of give us perspective on life. So what are some of the things that you've had to push through?
You know, just recently for me, and you know, I actually had a stroke. I mean, I just I turned 40 a couple of months ago, and you wouldn't expect that from me. That's not that normal for my age, but come to find out, my family has problems with thick blood, and so then I had a blood clot, and that was really tough and really awakening. I went back to got out of the hospital, and then 2 days later I was back in the emergency room. I almost passed away right then and there. So that perspective that I had from that instance, you know, it was just me and my dad who took me to the emergency room, and just, you know, the opportunity to turn to him and tell him, you know, what was most important to me. And that was just 2 things, you know. I love my family and help them to learn the principles of the gospel that would help guide their life. And that was the only 2 things that I asked for. So, you know, but, you know, it really does give a perspective. It tells you, you know, what should I put most of my attention to? How can I change to be better? And then how can I take care of those that are around me and support and lift them up? You know, just like my grandma did, how can I lift up others and help improve their life? That's what's most important now.
Yeah, it kind of puts a punctuation point on life, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Mm-hmm.
The hat you are wearing, you made that hat.
Yep.
When your great-great-grandkids see this hat, when we're long and gone, what do you want them to know about Raymond Crane?
My first hat that I ever did, you know, only took me about a half an hour to design. I mean, it was really fast. I was like, oh yeah, that sounds great. This one took me 2.5 months to design.
Really?
And I'd sit back and look at it and say, you know, what is it that I want for me? What's my favorite color? What's my, you know, kind of what's everything? And then, you know, when things didn't make sense, I'd, you know, put it off for a while and then come back, and then, you know, be creative, you know, be patient, and the right things will come out for you as you put the effort in and you put in the time and effort. Even though you go down the wrong path sometimes, if you'll correct that and with the small little things, you'll be able to find the right way you need to go, and you'll make it.
Profound thoughts from Raymond Crane. Thanks for coming on Jessop's Journal.
Appreciate it.
You betcha.
Life is never boring. Sometimes you have something I like to call the wonderful world of regret. If you've ever had a tattoo or permanent makeup that you've fallen out of love with, the folks at Tattoo Away have come up with a pretty cool system that literally removes the ink out of the skin. Everyone has a story. Stories have power. Objects with stories are treasures remembered.
There's a hat right here. That's not my hat.
Yeah, that's actually my first hat that I was ever given. That was my grandfather. He would like to, take us all out fishing, and so, he took me out on just me and him, and we went fishing back in the river behind his cabin, and he bought me that hat in Mackay, Idaho.
Really?
So, that was my first hat. It's a little worn right now. I mean, as far as the band's all ripped off, and it doesn't keep its shape. It's just, just a cheap wool hat, but, that's what he gave me, so I love it.
Admit it, we all need to take a break. We all need to take a breath sometimes. Clear nasal spray helps me breathe better. I think it'll help you breathe better too. So join with me, come on, take a deep breath and relax. Thanks for watching this episode of Jessop's Journal. It's my honor to share powerful, positive, and inspirational stories on TV every week and worldwide at jessopsjournal.com. Everyone has a story. Stories have power. They help us understand each other. With another entry in the Jessop's Journal, I'm Doug Jessop.